Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought in this video we'd go over a bunch of the news that came out in the last few days for War Thunder. Obviously we're all waiting on these summer events, but Gaijin has come back to doing a bunch of changelogs and also adding in some more content in the game. It looks like the monthly decals are going to be coming in once again soon. Just remember, this month's monthly decals finish on the 8th of August, so you only have a few days to be able to get access to them. And also, there is some new market skins, a bunch of people who have been banned, and also a bunch of changes. So, in this video, we're going to have a look at all of the official stuff which has happened over the last day or so. By the way, the Twitch drops are continuing, so if you want to get the SU-27 skin, you can come and join us today. It's available until Friday. Then next week is also the F-14. We are continuing to do the 12-hour streams, and Freeman is continuing to do the 12-hour streams, so we are doing the 24 hours overall for you, and it's working pretty well. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe, and also like the video. Let's get started. Gaijin announced another fair play where a bunch more accounts got banned. 3,647 accounts have been found to violate the rules, mainly automation of gameplay and also cheat software. So people are still massively cheating in the game. But also 319 accounts were banned for a week or longer for intentional team killing. So nice once again that they're looking at that stuff. When it comes to the banned accounts, I'm pretty sure now, so I think I've done the calculation correct, there are over 100,000 accounts which are now banned when it comes to War Thunder. Just over the time that they've been doing these fair plays, just to kind of show you the kind of scale of these things and the extent of what Gaijin has been dealing with. Now, the game hosts millions of players every day, and 100,000 accounts is a very, very large number, but I wonder how many of those are older accounts that people have nicked, or once again, accounts that people are kind of playing through other stuff. One of the interesting things I found out about Broken Arrow the other day, basically from the devs, is they were talking about one of the exploits that people do when trying to cheat in their game. They actually have family sharing on in their game on Steam, so what people do is connect accounts to, let's call it a host account, to be able to play Broken Arrow and cheat on it. And then if that account got banned, it didn't really matter, because then they could just link another account to the main account and keep doing it over and over again. When it comes to War Thunder, what people usually do is nick accounts to be able to cheat on them or try and sell them, which is very sad. But with 100,000 of them banned, and obviously Gaijin continuing to try and keep on top of it, it's a really, really good sign that they're doing their job. There's also a new esports camo trophy that is available. Basically 35 new skins are available in the WTCS Trophy 2. These are 18 aircraft, 16 ground, and 1 ship camo. Basically, these are a little bit more razzmatazz compared to the standard camos that you'll see. A lot of them are very much dazzlers compared to many other stuff. I don't think there's any historical ones in here. Basically, it's just ones which are designed to look a little bit crazy. So, yeah, you can check those out. The esports stuff has been interesting to kind of go and have a look at over the last little bit, and Gaijin have kind of made it more official. And one of the ways that they're obviously funding it is through these boxes. So, if you enjoy the skins, the boxes will be available in-game, and also I'm pretty sure the skins will be available on the marketplace too, so you can pick them up there. Also, there was an It's Fixed that went over a bunch of changes that we've already talked about over the last few changelogs, but there was one which was new, which was kind of surprising. Basically, with aircraft damage models, they've done a fix to it, and I'm guessing this is something that was bothering people. I never really specifically saw it myself, but it is kind of interesting what they've decided to do. Basically, after analyzing several reports and complaints, they have improved the logic of aircraft destruction when hit by aircraft and anti-aircraft missiles. Previously, there were rare situations when a direct hit by missiles with sufficiently powerful warheads on a certain part of the fuselage were not part of the wing could cause serious damage to the aircraft. Loss of control, radar, engines, and so on. But this might not have been enough to count as an instant kill. Your target could lose combat capability or be finished off by another player or even make a forced landing. we have additional or added additional logic that will cause the destruction of the aircraft's airframe or detachment of one or both wing consoles when missiles with sufficiently powerful warheads directly hit the fuselage. So for weaker missiles, such as those launched from manpads, a direct hit will also trigger an additional destruction check, but the chance of wing console breaking off will not be 100%. It also should be noted that the new logic does not change the existing rules of destruction in any way, but only supplements them. So basically, if you hit the fuselage hard enough, the wings fall off, which is kind of interesting. So it's much harder now to survive a missile hit, which, I mean, I'm kind of like up and down about these things. Like, a lot of the missile damage does feel like RNG sometimes, where, you know, you absolutely hammer somebody one day and then the next day, basically what ends up happening is you end up kind of surviving something that you shouldn't, or you know, get hit and then don't survive something which is exactly the same. So making everything a bit more formalized and making damage a little bit more standard, I'm completely fine with, because the RNG nature of War Thunder is the kind of annoying part. As somebody who's been playing a lot of top tier recently, basically grinding out a lot of vehicles, the M1A1, the good old Makava Mark IIIs, the STRV 122B+, you know, all these types of vehicles. What I found is fighting Type 90s and also fighting the Soviet horde that runs at you every game. The fuel tank crisis is one of the most annoying things in the world, because there's obviously a problem with it, because it doesn't even show you the kind of damage camera when you penetrate these things. It just tells you the fuel tank and the autoloader and all of this that you destroy. And it just seems to absolutely negate any damage that you could do to the crew. And you could shoot something in the same place twice and it will do completely different damage based on, I don't even know, voodoo maybe? So something like this happening to aircraft I think is actually a positive thing, because it means that damage is more standardized and you don't have to worry about it too much. If you fire the missile, you know what damage it's going to do, and that makes it, you know, feel a bit better. We also had update 2.47.0.91. This was a changelog, which came out alongside the It's Fixed, which basically went through a few of its changes, such as the visual weapon selector improving, and also the critical damage thing itself, and what it's going to affect. Now, the only thing they don't really talk about is what is the difference between a large and a small warhead on a missile, but the example they give is a manpad being a small one, and I'm guessing other things will just be large ones. But yeah, they did a bunch of changes to the visual weapon selector. They've been working on this a lot, and as I've said previously, the battles in air just go so quickly. I don't really understand why you would actually end up doing something like that. So it just seems a little bit weird. For Mirage 3, Mirage 5, Mirage 2000 and 4000, they actually move the camera back in the third-person view, so it'll be a bit easier to be able to see everything, which I think is quite nice. The Farman, they also changed the amount of ammo in the top turret. It now has 1,000, but the bottom turret only has 500 now, but that still should be kind of fine. The Su-17s and Su-22s, the maximum permissible speed of landing gear has been increased, and flap extension as well. So landing gears at 550 kilometers an hour now, and 600 kilometers an hour for flap extension. I feel like a lot of these vehicles are only useful in ground. As somebody who's tried to spade a lot of the Su-17s and also a lot of the Su-22s, it has just been an absolute mess to try and do. Harriers, the Harriers and the AV-8s, available angles of attack and overload have been increased. Maneuverability and takeoff and landing characteristics at low speeds have been improved, so the Harriers might actually not feel like bricks against everything that they face, because that was one of the problems with the Harriers. They just feel awful to fly around the place. They're great missile buses, and they have great low-end acceleration, but they didn't really have anything else. So hopefully now they'll be a bit more maneuverable and will make a bit more sense. For Spitfires with all the Merlin engines, so this is not the Griffin Spits, this is the Merlin Spits, the maximum flap speed increased to 160 miles per hour, which is kind of nice. So you'll actually be able to use them instead of before having to go very slow in order to sort them out. The Lancaster B Mark 1 and 3 overheating and insufficient engine cooling after prolonged operation in takeoff has been fixed, and also the F-14A and F-111, all of the variants, the engine throttle response time to changes in engine control axis have been clarified, which means they've been changed. The maximum overload of the Rafale has been changed as well. It's adjusted to 9 by 1.5 Gs with full fuel load. I don't think that'll make too much of a difference with the vehicle. I don't think it will. It's not a huge difference if I remember from before. And the Mosquito FB Mark 26, which is the Chinese Mosquito, there was a bug where engine fires could be extinguished using a fire extinguisher without researching the FS modification. So, once again, a good fix. The AIM-7F and 7M, they changed the explosive type to PBXN4, and the Sea Harrier FA2, the Ferranti Blue Vixen radar, they removed restrictions on stabilization of the radar's viewing angle by roll angle, so it should be, once again, a bit easier to use. The JAS-39, or the Gripen, the PS-05 radar, basically got its radar the same change as the Sea Harriers, so therefore should be a bit nicer. And for ground vehicles, we have a really annoying change. The Begleitpanzer 57, the tracer in the semi-armor piercing shell, has been removed. So it's going to be harder to tell where you're getting blap-blapped from by a Begleitpanzer. The Begleitpanzer 57 is insanely powerful. It's one of the best light tanks in the game, and it's just received so many buffs over the last period. The only kind of nerf, quote-unquote, is its updated damage model. Everything else about it has been buffed, and it's just annoying as hell to face at 9.3. The ZSU 23-4V, the Santal and the AMX-30, the friend or foe filter have been removed from the radar screen, since this equipment does not have these recognition systems. So be careful when you're firing your missiles at things, or you're firing your guns, because you might just get them wrong. The accuracy or reduced dispersion of some ground vehicle guns has been adjusted with calibers of the types following, and the types following are basically all World War II vehicles. Like, basically a lot of 37mm, a lot of 25s, a lot of 47s and 57s, basically everything from kind of the early ranks of Italy and also Germany have all been improved, including some British ones too, like the 40mm 2-pounder, and also stuff like the 6-pounder Hotchkiss Mark 1 and the 47mm Ordnance QF 3-pounder. So a lot of low-tier guns basically got their accuracy increased, which I think is good, because there's so many guns right now. Like, after playing the Badger and just watching the rounds just not go where I wanted them to go, it would be so much better if vehicles actually aimed where you fired. This fake dispersion that you can't really do anything about and means that you misplace your shots even if you aim correctly is obnoxious, and has been since the game's come out. For naval vessels, the Schutz and the Bernau, the improved rangefinder modification has been removed, basically due to the lack of non-automatic cannons on these boats. And on the Matsu, the main caliber gun traverse speed has been increased, so should be a little bit easier to play. And then a few little interface changes. So there was a bug where it was impossible to select a vehicle in the favorite vehicle section in the player card when using a gamepad, so that's been fixed. And also a detailed description of camouflage types has been added to the camouflage cards, providing more details about the characteristics of fictional, semi-historical and historical camouflage patterns, which is kind of cool, and it means that you know what you're going to be able to see in games if you've changed those options. So that's the news for today. Hopefully you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.